Alrighty guys, let's jump into UC prompt number 2 for this video about creativity. This time around I'm going to try to switch gears into something else. I want to go through my top 3 favorite websites that give guides on how to write these kinds of essays, and I'm going to give you my feedback on them and hopefully give you my assurances or agreement with the advice that are online that I think are really key and things that students should keep in mind. So let's dive right in. UC prompt number 2, creativity. Here's the prompt. Every person has a creative side and it can be expressed in many ways: problem solving, original, innovative thinking, and artistically, to name a few. Describe how you express your creative side, and it's going to be a 350 word limit. All UCs, by the way, are going to be 350 words. Things to consider: what does creativity mean to you? Do you have a creative skill that is important to you? What have you been able to do with that skill? If you use creativity to solve a problem, what was your solution? What are the steps you took to solve the problem? So these guys are giving you things to consider in the sense that, like, they're begging you, please guys, don't just tell me how creative you are and how awesomely creative you are, but like walk us through an example. Walk us through a creative process so that we could see tangible actions, tangible decision points, contemplations that you go through before you ultimately make a decision to move forward creatively in a certain way. So making sure that you are anchoring your essays off of tangible examples and experiences. Second part here: how does your creativity influence your decisions inside and outside the classroom? Does your creativity relate to your major or future career? So this is introspection. I'm always going to emphasize, a lot of times students just give me the example and that's how I became president of the class, and that's how, through creativity and my music, I express my blah 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 blah, rather than introspecting. Introspecting could be something like, hey, over the years I've come to realize how much my creativity has been influenced by nature and how much I want to continue to try to mold that more towards my growing interest towards computer science and engineering. Right? So being able to showcase that you have an eagle-eye view of your creativity build, your creativity level, and being able to reflect upon it, hence an introspection. Super underrated. I feel like this is like the thing that needs to be taught more. This is the thing I'm looking for the most, to really sense whether a student has that next level communication skill, writing skill, insight, self-awareness. Let's start with college essay advisors. So by the way, you can just Google UC prompts and they'll usually show up here. There's collegeessayadvisors.com, which is pretty popular. I think I also go to blog PrepScholars and then blog the collegevine.com. There's college essay guys as well, but I'm going to focus on 3. So let's start with college essay advisors. So they start off by giving you the prompt, and then they give you these 2 paragraphs. Let's see what they say. You may think that this question was geared towards the artistically inclined, but take a closer look. The wording offers many potential definitions that veer away from traditional conceptions of creativity, and it actually asks you for your personal definition. Creativity lies in your outlook, seeing the opportunity to use one of your skills in a novel situation, looking at a problem from a new angle to find a solution that no one else could see. This question is, in reality, ideal for the more scientifically oriented to create a more well-rounded profile. Creative types, on the other hand, might want to proceed with caution, since really every question is an opportunity to show off your talents and describe your artistic endeavors. No matter who you are, though, remember this classic writing advice: show, don't tell. Gotta love it. That's money right there. So you claim that gardening or calculus or painting is how you show your creative side. Okay, so then immerse the reader in this activity with you. Love that. If you enjoy gardening, describe the plants, their qualities, and how you make your horticultural choices. Are you drawn to the aesthetics, or are you botanically inquisitive? Love that. Similarly, if your subject is calculus, show the reader how you sat in your dad's office for 6 straight hours trying to calculate pi on 3 dozen sheets of paper using red crayon. If you love to paint, show the reader where you paint, what you paint, and why you paint, describing the colors, textures, and materials, the essential process behind your art. Write descriptively, huge, so that the reader can feel as if he or she were experiencing your creative passion with you. Man, really solid. A lot I can really praise about the advice here. First and foremost, I love this like next level big meta thinking and advice that they're giving here. They're saying, hey, generally speaking, the person who's going to not really be impressive is a student who talks about typical artistic kinds of activities, because we often correlate creativity to art. So like you're creative in music, you're creative in studio art. They even go as far as to say that if you're a STEM student, you might actually have an advantage here if you answer this, because the stereotype for STEM is that it's very rigid, it's very factual and logic based. But I think the higher in the sciences you go, the further from the truth that actually is. And so if you're able to demonstrate a creative side of you that doesn't lean on the cliches of art or music, this could be a way to be a standout student. I also like how they answer this part, or how they give this point, and actually it asks you for your personal definition. I think defining your creativity is a great way to start. So if I were to say define your creativity, a good example to begin with is, I think, Billie Eilish from last year. She had a bunch of Twitch commercials where, I think with Adobe, she was started with this like, creativity for me begins with what if. All right, what if instead of green trees we had purple trees? What if instead of a house that had, you know, 4 walls and a door and windows, we had a house that was a tree house and would go up in a spiral? So being able to define the process, how you begin thinking creatively and making decisions creatively through a question that you iconify. I thought that was a really clever use there. For me, the advice I use from an NBA reference would be James Harden. James Harden, whether you love him or not, I think he, creativity for me is learning how to bend the rules. So the step back 3, some people that are diehard old schoolers would have considered that to be travel, but according to the rule book, James Harden really read between the lines and found something really clever, and it gave him a huge advantage. And I think he deserves a lot more credit for how creative he was with pioneering some of the moves and some of the ways in which he draws files and things like that, whether you like it or not. So being able to define your creativity, I'm on board, college essay advisors. Y'all doing great. Down here, show, don't tell. So making sure that you show via your experiences and actions. Use details. Okay, so detail. I'd also say there's a little bit of introspection requests here that they're talking about. Why do you choose to go with this versus that? You know, if you love to paint, why do you choose certain colors, textures, and materials? So there's a lot more about going into the reasoning behind your creative process and decision. All great things. Let's see what the other websites say. So this one's going to be College Vine. Let's take a look. I think it's College Vine next. Yeah, let's do it. So, oh, they even have like a YouTube video. Check them out, guys. Give them some support. But let's see. Okay, how to write. Let's go to prompt number 2. By defining creativity as, but not limited to, problem solving, novel thinking, and artistic expression, this prompt expands creativity to encompass all academic fields. Therefore, do not be put off by this prompt if you're not in a traditionally creative role, i.e. artist or poet. The prompt's emphasis on problem solving allows you to draw narratives from seemingly mundane everyday tasks, such as creating a contraption to massage your tennis elbow. I love how, again, the same message is coming out. It's not just for the art and music kids. In fact, if you're able to go beyond the conventional roles connected to creativity, you might actually have a chance to really stand out and shine. Here are some examples. In math, devising a non-textbook method to prove theorems. In politics, integrating new quantitative methods and technology to gauge voter proclivities. In English, scouting for locations of inspiration to write your next short story. In history, writing a journal piece detailing a unique way to view Hitler's invasion of Poland. In science, finding ways to offer affordable care to HIV patients. All these examples, if explained well, demonstrate creativity. Ideally, you want to finish your essay by detailing how you will apply such creative thinking in college and beyond. I don't really agree with this. I don't think you ever need to come back to, and in college, I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Obviously, that's maybe not what they're insinuating here, but you had me all the way, College Vine, all the way up until trying to shoehorn college back into it. I don't think that's necessary. Um, what I really liked about this, once again, is the point. It's not just for the art or music student. I think then, what else would I like about this? Draw narratives, therefore do not be less necessary. I mean, reading the examples is pretty neat. I think from the examples, what I can extrapolate is unique pairing. So for example, earlier I was mentioning how maybe you want to connect nature, my love and experience in nature, and how that connects to my problem solving thought process when it comes to engineering design. So this, I think, kind of goes towards biomimicry, being inspired by nature to come up with designs that you can apply in engineering situations. What's an example of that? Probably, I remember like a motorcycle helmet and connecting that to a woodpecker's cranial anatomy, right? Or there's certain types of like rocket valves and connecting that to aortic, oh my gosh, the aortic valves in the heart. I'm not sure if I'm spelling that right. Oh well. But yeah, College Vine, I think they give some good examples, but maybe go a little bit deeper. I feel like just this would kind of still leave me a little lost. If you combined it with this from College Essay Advisors, I think you'd be super well off. But yeah, the unique pairing is what I'm getting out of College Vine, and the same message of it not being about just for art or music students. Let's go to the third and final. So this is from PrepScholar. Let's see what they say. Actual essay prompts. I wanted to showcase this part. I really like how PrepScholars gives like an initial overarching meta explanation. So how to tell the UC essay prompts apart. To help the UC personal statement prompts apart. To help tell the prompts apart, sort them into big picture categories. I like that. So in your brainstorming days, you can see when your event or life future fit. Topic 1 and 7 are about your engagement with the people, things, and ideas around you. Topic 2, that's ours, UC Prompt 2, and 6 are about your inner self, what defines you, and what makes you the person that you are. Consider your interior makeup, the characteristics of the inner you. Oh, I really like that. So it's what defines you. I think I would rephrase that for number 2 and say, how do you think? How do you approach a creative? So let's see if I could start this. For PrepScholars, oops. I'd say, how do you think through a problem and develop a solution? How do you approach your creative process? Yeah, I really like that. Oh, by the way, I'm going to switch that. I'm bungling this. Sorry, guys. Blog.PrepScholar. But let's see. Let's jump straight in to number 2. So this is insight 1. Let's go to number 2. Where's number 2? Okay. So dissecting personal insight question number 2. So here's the prompt. What is the question asking you? This question is trying to probe the way you express yourself. Its broad description and creativity gives you the opportunity to make almost anything you create that didn't exist before fit the topic. What this essay question is really asking you to do is to examine the role your brand of creativity plays in your sense of yourself. Wow, that's really deep. I'm not sure if your average potato high school student is going to really be able to understand this and like and digest this, but I absolutely agree with this. This is like another level of understanding the introspective part that I'm looking for in the essay response. The essay will have 3 parts. Define your creativity. So back to defining your creativity. I love that. What exactly do you produce, make, craft? So be tangible. Give details. Be specific. Use your experiences. Of course, the most obvious answer would be a visual art or performing or music, but in reality, there's creativity in all fields. Anytime you come up with an idea, thought, concept, theory that didn't exist before, you're being creative. So your job is to explain what you spend time creating. Okay, so when they say define your creativity, I think they're asking you to be specific. So I agree with that. Define your creativity via specific examples, experiences. Part 2, connect your creative drive to your overall self. Why do you do what you do? Are you doing it for external reasons, to perform for others, to demonstrate your skill, to fulfill some need in the world? Or is your creativity private and for your own use, to unwind, to distract yourself from other parts of your life, to have personal satisfaction in learning a skill? Wow, I really like this. I really like how this is about the introspection. Are you good at your creative thing, or do you struggle with it? I love if you would struggle with it, right? I'm great at this. It's usually kind of gross. But if you said, hey, this is an ongoing process, it's something I continue to challenge myself with, oh, that's juicy. I would love that. If you struggle with it, why is it important to you to keep doing it? Okay. I'm immediately taken away by this. Whoever wrote this, you're my winner so far. Part 3, connect your creative drive with your future. The most basic way to do this is if you envision yourself actually doing your creative pursuit professionally. But this doesn't have to be the only way you draw this link. What have you learned from what you've made? How does it change your interaction with other objects or with people? Does it change your appreciation for the work of others or motivate you to improve upon it? So this is another one of those, it's coming back to like almost a college, what do you want to do in college kind of plug. Again, I wasn't a fan of that. Back to the prompt. Experience, describe how you express your creative side. Again, it's not asking for you to talk about your job, your major choice, or what you can do in college. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but it's not asking for that. So I don't really care about the professional pursuit. But everything else, love it. Students, if you're stuck about how to write the second half of your essay here, and these are great questions to mull over. What you see hoping to learn about you. Oh, that was hard to write. What's UC hoping to learn about you? There you go. Nothing characterizes higher education like the need for creative thinking, unorthodox ideas to old topics, and the ability to synthesize something new. Wow, like that. That is what you are going to college to learn, how to do better. This essay wants to know whether this mindset of out-of-the-boxness is something you're already comfortable with. They want to see that you have actually created something in your life or academic careers, that you consider this an important quality within yourself, and that you have cultivated your skills, that you can see and have considered the impact of what you've done on yourself or on the world around you. How can you give them what they want? By the way, I'm in love. This is so good. PrepScholar, you are acing it right now. This is so good. How can you give them what they want? How can you really show them you're committed to being a creative person? Be specific and descriptive. Give a sense of history. The question wants a little narrative relationship to your creative eye. So when did it begin? How did it grow? Right? How has it changed and evolved as you've applied your creativity to new and more complex situations? That's pretty cool. Hit a snag and find the success. Anything worth doing is worth doing despite setbacks. This question argues, and it wants you to narrate one such setback. So first, figure out something that interfered with your creative expression. A lack of time, skill, time, or resources, too much or not enough ambition in a project. Then make sure the story has a happy ending that shows you off as a solver of your own problem. I would agree to simplify this down to the nature of something creative and going through a creative process requires a problem or a hurdle or some sort of friction, in which case you had to be creative. You had to go beyond the convention to come to a solution. So I think I can agree with this. You are, just like the leadership essay, as I mentioned in the first video or in the leadership video, you are looking to give a specific example of a problem and how how solving that problem reflects your creative decision-making process and your style and your inner focus. Show insight. Your essay should include some thoughtful consideration of how this creative pursuit has shaped you, your thoughts, your opinions. Yeah, introspection. I'm going to give an obvious winner to this, man. I feel like I think College Essay Advisor's great tips. College Vine gives good examples, but what really seals the deal for me, I think, is Prep Scholars and the depth to which they go and break it apart. So um, obviously, check out all of these if you're a student. I think if you synthesized all three of these links, you would have a much better time of knowing what you can then start thinking about. Yeah, I'm blown away by Prep Scholar's breakdown of this. I think this is really good. So I'm going to provide the links to these below in the video link description. Again, if you guys have any questions, or if you like the format that you saw today, just give me some feedback. Other than that, I hope that this was helpful and this gets you started on your way. Good luck.